Welcome to the Pencil Bob channel. I hope you enjoy my stories. Please like and subscribe, and hit that notification icon so you never miss out. Now on with the stories.
Frustration is still coursing through my veins as I struggle to put my feelings into words. Today, I received an unpleasant surprise in the mail from our Homeowners Association management company. Thanks to the post office's informed delivery emails, I had a heads up that something was coming. When I logged into the portal to investigate, my anxiety spiked. The letter claimed that we had committed a parking violation on the 21st at 6 a.m., stating that we were double parked. It's absolutely infuriating. The letter stated that double parking is not allowed, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe we got blamed for someone else's mistake. There's definitely bad blood between us and the management company Goon, so I wouldn't put it past them to try to pin something on us. But then I looked at the camera footage for that date and time, and guess what? There were no vehicles double parked in any of the spaces. Not a single one. The bottom of the notice reads, Section 4.1.12. No trailers, boats, mobile homes, camping trailers may be parked on the property for more than 24 hours. PRK, Rules and Regulations, Parking. I'm thinking, what does this have to do with anything? We do have a work trailer that's stored elsewhere, and it does get brought to our place to fill up the water tank, which we pay for, by the way. It's usually here for about 20 minutes on weekday mornings around 8 a.m., parked at the back of our garage, not in any parking space. And it doesn't block anyone or anything. But on that particular day, the work trailer wasn't even here. I hate that we have to defend ourselves against something we didn't do. Again, this isn't the first time they've tried to pin something on us. Just recently, they tagged one of our vehicles, claiming it was being stored and not being moved. I had to send them camera footage of the car being gone just the night before it got tagged, and then again being gone later that same day. Both times, the space was vacant for the entire time. It's like they're just looking for ways to harass us. I wish we could afford to move out of this townhouse community. It's not like we're causing any trouble or disturbing the peace. We're just trying to live our lives, but the HOA management company seems to have it out for us. I edited my initial rant to add an update. I received the notice, and it shows a photo of my family member's car looking like it's parked in the center of two spaces. But here's the thing, the camera in front shows the car is basically on the line, not over it, and there's still space for another vehicle in the other space. I took a screenshot of the photo, and then another screenshot of a large truck parked in the second space next to the car. The HOA photo was taken from an angle in the grass behind the car, not in front of it, which forced the perspective to make it look like the car was parked in the middle of two spaces. It's clear they're trying to manipulate the situation. This is the same car they tried to say was being stored before. I think they're just looking for a reason to tow it. It's ridiculous. We're not causing any problems, and yet they're constantly nitpicking and trying to find ways to fine us or tow our vehicles. It's exhausting. I'm still upset about this whole situation. I don't know what their problem is, but I wish they would just leave us alone. We're not bothering anyone. We're just trying to live our lives and enjoy our home. But the HOA management company seems determined to make our lives miserable. The whole issue started months ago when we first moved into this community. At first, everything seemed perfect. Nice neighborhood, friendly neighbors, and a quiet atmosphere. However, it didn't take long for the HOA management company to show its true colors. The first sign of trouble was a notice about our garden. We had planted a few flowers and a small vegetable patch in our backyard. It wasn't anything extravagant, just a little bit of greenery to brighten up the place and give us some fresh produce. But the HOA had a problem with it. According to them, our garden violated some obscure rule about uniformity and landscaping. I remember the day I got that notice. I had come home from work, looking forward to a relaxing evening, only to find the dreaded letter in the mailbox. My heart sank as I read through it. It felt like a personal attack. They wanted us to remove our garden or face a hefty fine. I was livid. How could a few plants cause so much trouble? I spent the evening drafting an email, attaching photos of the garden, and arguing our case. It felt like I was pleading for our right to grow tomatoes and flowers. It was utterly ridiculous. To my surprise, they responded quickly, but not in the way I had hoped. They doubled down, insisting that the garden had to go. That was our first real taste of the HOA's iron fist. Since then, it's been a never-ending battle. The parking violations are just the latest in a long list of grievances. There was the time they claimed our trash bins were left out too long. We usually bring them in promptly after the garbage truck comes by, But there was one week when I had to leave town for a business trip. My spouse had a particularly hectic week at work, and we missed bringing in the bins for a day. Just one day. The following morning, there was another notice, this time with a fine attached. It felt like they were watching us, waiting for us to slip up. Then there was the saga of the holiday decorations. Every year, we put up a modest display for Christmas, some lights, a wreath on the door, and a few ornaments in the front yard. Nothing too flashy, just enough to spread some holiday cheer. But last year, we got a notice that our decorations were excessive and not in line with community standards. Excessive? Really? Compared to some of the houses that look like they belong in a theme park, ours were downright modest. It was like they had a personal vendetta against us. The parking situation, though, has been the most infuriating. It's not just about the car they claim we were double parking or storing. It's the principle of it all. We follow the rules, we park where we're supposed to, and yet they keep finding reasons to harass us. Each time I get a notice, it feels like a slap in the face. It's as if they're saying, "You're not welcome here." The other residents seem to have no problems. I've talked to a few neighbors about the HOA, and while they have their complaints, none seem to experience the same level of scrutiny we do. It's almost like we're being singled out. I've thought about attending an HOA meeting to address these issues, but honestly, I don't think it would help. From what I've heard, those meetings are a joke. The board members are the same people who send out the notices, and they don't seem interested in hearing any dissenting opinions. One of the worst moments was when they tried to tow our car. I was at work when I got a frantic call from my spouse. They had come home to find a tow truck in front of our house, hooking up our car. Apparently, the HOA had decided our car was abandoned and called the tow company. My spouse had to argue with the driver, showing them proof that the car was registered, insured, and very much in use. The driver finally relented, but we still got a bill for the tow company's call-out fee. Another fight with the HOA ensued, and after days of back and forth, they grudgingly agreed to cover the fee. But the damage was done. The stress and humiliation of that incident still linger. And now, here we are again, facing yet another baseless accusation. I can't even describe the anger and frustration I feel. It's like a dark cloud hanging over us, sapping our energy and joy. Home is supposed to be a sanctuary, a place where you can relax and feel safe. But thanks to the HOA, it feels like a battleground. I've spent countless hours documenting everything, taking photos, saving emails, and keeping records of every interaction. It's exhausting and demoralizing. I shouldn't have to live like this, constantly on edge, waiting for the next notice or fine. I've looked into legal options, but that's a whole other can of worms. Lawyers are expensive, and there's no guarantee we'd win. The HOA has deep pockets and a team of attorneys ready to fight any challenge. It's a David versus Goliath situation, and right now, we just don't have the resources to take them on. Some nights, I lie awake, wondering how we ended up in this mess. We chose this community because it seemed like a nice place to raise our family. The houses are well maintained, the schools are good, and it's close to work. But the constant harassment from the HOA is taking a toll on us. We're not troublemakers. We're just a regular family trying to live our lives. But the HOA seems determined to make that impossible. The latest parking notice is just another example of their relentless campaign against us. I can't help but feel that there's something more to this. Maybe it's personal. Maybe one of the board members has a grudge against us for some reason. Or maybe they just get a kick out of exerting their power over the residents. Whatever the reason, it's making our lives miserable. I'm at my wit's end. I've tried reasoning with them, complying with their ridiculous demands, and documenting everything to prove our innocence. But nothing seems to work. The notices keep coming, the fines keep piling up, and the stress keeps growing. It's affecting our health, our happiness, and our sense of security. I just want to live in peace, to enjoy our home without constantly looking over my shoulder, wondering what the HOA will come after us for next. Is that too much to ask? Apparently, for our HOA, it is. They're determined to make our lives as difficult as possible, and I don't know how much more we can take. I keep replaying everything in my mind, trying to figure out what we did to deserve this. Did we offend someone on the board? Is this just a case of bureaucratic overreach? Or is it something else entirely? The not knowing is almost worse than the harassment itself. It feels like we're trapped in a Kafkaesque nightmare, where the rules are arbitrary and the enforcers are capricious and vindictive. I've thought about organizing the other residents, seeing if we can band together to challenge the HOA. but that seems like a long shot. Most of our neighbors seem content to stay out of it, not wanting to risk drawing the HOA's ire. I can't say I blame them. The few times I've mentioned our issues, people have listened sympathetically, but there's always a sense of relief that it's not happening to them. So here I am, pouring my frustrations into this rant, hoping it will help me process everything and maybe find some clarity. I'm tired of fighting, but I don't see any other option. We can't afford to move, and we shouldn't have to. This is our home, and we have a right to live here without being constantly harassed. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe things will get better, or maybe they'll get worse. All I know is that we can't keep going like this. Something has to give. But for now, all I can do is keep documenting everything, keep pushing back, and hope that someday, somehow, we'll find a way to live in peace. As I sit here, staring at the latest notice, a part of me wants to laugh at the meaninglessness of it all. It's like we're characters in a bad sitcom, dealing with the petty tyrants of the HOA. But there's nothing funny about the stress and anxiety this situation is causing. It's real, and it's wearing us down. I look at my family and feel a pang of guilt. They deserve better than this. We all do. But as long as we're stuck here, we have to find a way to cope. Maybe we'll get lucky, and the HOA will ease up. Maybe we'll find a legal loophole to protect ourselves. Or maybe we'll just have to keep fighting, one notice at a time. For now, all I can do is take a deep breath, hold on to my resolve, and keep pushing forward. We're not going to let the HOA break us. We can't. This is our home, and we're going to fight for it, no matter what. Well, to be honest, you're not going to get anywhere by claiming malicious enforcement for one single notice. What's likely to happen is they're going to think you're a drama queen from now on if you start throwing around harassment and malicious enforcement over one notice. If you have a few notices to back you up, sure. But it'll backfire more than anything else, over just one notice. It'll likely hurt your cause more than help if you jump the gun like this right now. Go to your next meeting and say the following presenting the aforementioned footage. As you can see from the video footage, there was no double parking that occurred at the time stated. If you are going to police and fine residents of this community without properly doing due diligence of investigating alleged rule breaking, then you will have much more to worry about and much more to pay for, as I will have no choice but to take you to court to libel against myself. Please keep in mind that any money used to attempt to prosecute and collect fines on alleged breaking of the rules without proof will be coming directly from you or the board members personally and not the HOA members. You individually, or the board members collectively, will be sued for false accusations of the rules broken by me if you continue this. I was preparing to sell my house and I received a violation notice stating that the numbers on my mailbox were illegible. In fairness, the numbers were faded, but they were still legible. I fired off an email asking where mailbox numbers were regulated by the bylaws. House numbers were controlled, but not on the mailbox specifically. Numerous back and forth emails where I backed them into a corner and I discovered they didn't follow proper procedure. The board had to record a vote on the violation and I knew they didn't, so I requested meeting minutes and requested a hearing in front of the board. I went to this extreme because the rules they were citing were newly passed, but I opposed them because they were ambiguous, conflicting and unclear, and I provided suggested edits that they rejected, so I figured I may as well show them their rules were crap. That, and I was days away from closing on the sale, so I didn't want to be bothered with replacing the numbers of the mailbox. They canceled the hearing 3 hours before the scheduled meeting. I closed on the sale the following day. The mailbox and numbers remained the same 5 years later.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.